the compatibilist view of free will, Dennis, the compatibilist view of free will says that is about freedom to make decisions without duress, as opposed to an impossible and unnecessary freedom from causality itself. And what you're arguing when you say there's no free will is that there's no free will because we're not free from causality itself.
Right.
But that's impossible and unnecessary. Why on earth? I mean, where do you even get started thinking that there's something wrong with not being free from causality?
Well, if you're just the last link in an inevitable chain of cause and effect, stretching back to the wherever, why are you held to blame for what you do?
Because I'm that guy. It doesn't matter what.
But you had no choice.
The causality.
You had no choice.
The causality that led me to be who I am.
Because causality does not allow for choices.
You're just asserting that there was no choice. You haven't demonstrated it.
I think at this point, Dennis, you're the one who's repeating the same things over and over again, and I'd like to talk. Okay. No matter what processes led to me being the person that I am, once I am the person that I am, I'm the person that does the things that I do. And I don't, apart from the existence of some other entity that could be held responsible besides me, right? Like a guy who programmed me, or a guy who coerces me. In the absence of such a guy, some other guy to take the blame, the buck stops with me. I am the guy that did the things that I do, and that's why I'm held responsible.
So the chain of events that led up to what you do had nothing to do with what you do.
It doesn't take any of the responsibility off of me, is what it doesn't do.
See, I think you said a false dichotomy when you say that. When you say that the chain of events had nothing to do with what. I agree. The chain of events are an influence. They have an influence. Your position is that they are the only influence.
Well, do you have a method of going outside cause and effect?
And when we deny that when we say that it's possibly not the case that it's the only influence, you lead to the claim that we're saying there's no influence, and that's not the case. What we're saying is that we recognize that there's an influence, and we recognize that there is this ubiquitous experience of free will, and good reason to think that it's a possibility, considering we can't distinguish between free will and the illusion. And therefore, if somebody wants to claim and assert the truth, that the truth is there is no free will, that there needs to be actual evidence for that assertion. We're all in agreement that we should practically act as if we have free will.
Right.
I mean, all four of us agree with that.
Yes, we agree with that.
So you're taking an additional step to say there is no free will. And what we're saying is you need to actually demonstrate that, because from our point of view, if it's a practical, it's part of it.
That's not my argument at all. But
well,
go ahead.
It's not my original argument. It's a reason why we are not accepting Dennis's position.
I'm not accepting Dennis's position because Dennis's position requires an unnecessary and impossible freedom from causality.
Well, that's too bad.
It seems like it just seems to boil down to exactly blaming the universe for us not having superpowers.
That's exactly what it is.
But that's silly, because the universe can't take blame. The universe isn't a guy.
So what? Doesn't matter. Truth can be silly. Who cares?
A stone falls down a mountainside and crushes a cute little child. Do we lock that stone up? It's also another.
No,
playing out of
it's done
mere
nothing
physical
wrong.
Laws. That's not why we don't lock it up, Dennis. We don't lock it up because it can't take blame.
I'm not talking about our cultural.
No, but our culture is not entirely stupid. Our culture, was put together by people who could tell the difference between a human being and a rock.
But physical laws are stupid. They just do what they do.
But we don't lock up the rock, because it would be dumb.
Yes.
A rock is different from a person. And you're saying it's not.
Right.
You're saying a person is every bit as much the result of... a person's choices are every bit as much the blind playing out of the machinations of the universe as the rock.
Yes.
And they're not.
Yes, they are.
Not in any sense that is useful.
They are, absolutely.
When we go looking for blame in the cause of death,
useful is irrelevant.
We don't lock up the rock, because the rock can't take blame.
Useful is irrelevant.
A person can. Useful is irrelevant. We're back to the you're against the fact that there's an arbitrary distinction there. Okay.
Yes.
Here, we'll go straight at it.
The truth is
We'll go straight at it, Dennis. Here we go. You said, we have will, but it's not free.
Right.
Right? That is your position.
Yeah.
You also agreed with Matt that a certain amount of constraint upon our will is you have no problem with that. You don't say that we don't have free will because, I might want to walk from here to there and there's a river in the way. You don't make that kind of dumb argument. I know you don't. Right?
Right.
Okay. So there's some amount of constraint on our will that you say is enough to keep our will from being free. How much?
Total.
What do you mean total?
Our will is completely and utterly constrained by our imposed desires and opinions and whatever. Something we had no hand in.
Not coerced now, right? Are we past the coercion thing?
I guess I won't use that word. You object to it. So,
the dictionary definition did seem to imply
you are completely controlled by your desires.
Controlled
by desires that you had no hand in choosing.
That's interesting. Okay, I have to back off away from the arbitrary thing for a second. So, but what are you, if not the package of preferences and opinions that make you up? I mean, what are you?
Nothing. That's what I am.
That's what you are.
Yeah.
So that's your self. Dennis's self is the package of his preferences and opinions.
Yes.
So you do what you want.
What I'm programmed to do, yes. By those preferences and opinions.
The universe... Okay, we'll go back to the programmer thing. You're not programmed. The universe isn't a programmer. It's not a guy that, with intent, wrote your program. And
okay, I can only act the single way that my desires allow me to act.
The way
period.
the way that I mean, to be a person, to be a self, to have an identity, is to have some package of wants and desires, and preferences.
And why do we credit ourselves with those? Why do we claim credit for what we do?
I don't find it
Hello?
necessary. Yeah, hang on.
Can I talk at some point?
Just a moment. A hand raise is enough. You haven't been doing that. I'm not... What does crediting ourselves have to do with anything? I accept that I did not write my set of wants and desires. However, my set of wants and desires is me.
That's the whole point of free will.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
No, the point of free will is not that I didn't write my set of wants and desires. The point of free will
the point of free will is that you credit yourself with what you do, or blame yourself for what you do.
Well, who else, Dennis? There's no other guy. We don't blame rocks rolling down hillsides. We blame people. Now, you show me the guy that programmed me. You show me the guy holding a gun to my head. We can blame him instead. This is why you're wrong. It doesn't matter. You're personifying the universe in order to give it blame or credit. And that's just dumb.
No. I'm saying there is no blame or credit.
Sure there is.
I'm saying it's arbitrary.
Sure.
Okay, then.
And?
If it's arbitrary, then free will is arbitrary.